Hello, Civil Squad, and welcome back to the update from the truck, better known as I've left the gym and I'm going to do some quick thoughts on a current crime update or whatever. If you're new to the channel, I usually have a sofa to align with the channel name, but these are just my quick way of getting some thoughts out and getting this up really quick or whatever. I literally just record on my phone. So, that being said, welcome to the Sofa Squad. My name is Paul, and I hope you're doing well. Now, what we're going to be doing in this little quick update video, and I have my computer behind me, so I'll be like adjusting to, check in with it or whatever. So, on the notes that I made, this is on the interview, and specifically with Justin Lim that Taj did. They were a juror on juror number 8, I believe it was, in the Lori Daybell trial. So they've done several interviews, so I just want to go over, because so many people have emailed it to me, I want to go over my thoughts. So top to bottom, intense opening statements. Never heard anything like this before. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, honestly, right? There's no way I wouldn't have known what to do. So it's interesting overall because they were so much aligned with the things that we thought that we saw too, right? So anyways, took tons and tons of notes. It stood out that Lori got emotional talking about things during the openings. Kay and Adam had the most impact. Adam explained the Nephi situation or whatever, which was major for them, right? I mean, how could it not be? The timeline stuck out. Thought overall that Lori did a good job representing herself. Lori came off as sassy and tense and nervous and all the things that we saw as well. So then this part was interesting. Two jurors were not convinced of guilt. And, she was like, I'm not sure why. One wanted to rewatch the Walgreens clip, and they saw that Lori was wearing shoes into Walgreens. And that was, so we slowed it down and watched it while we were live streaming on the other channel. And yes, you could see Lori wearing some kind of slide or flip flop in there or whatever, which was huge because, again, and just like the juror number 8 said, if she's going to lie about that, then why should we believe her about anything? I mean, we're talking flip flops here. But again, it was like all these little lies that Lori did. So it was good to see that they caught that. And then basically the whole thing with the two jurors is, they wanted to see some, a little bit more information. And when they saw that, it was like good to go. Now, the before we got rid of him text, obviously, major, 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 right? I mean, hello. Okay. You could tell Lori was trying to figure out what to say and what not to say on the phone call to insurance. This was another one that I was like, yes, because we saw this, right? When you listen to that phone call, you could tell that Lori is kind of making some stuff up as she goes, being very careful. And that's not, like, you wouldn't need to do that, right? Like, that would not be a thing. Okay, so does the thing, let's see. Okay, do they think that Alex and Charles got into an argument? Yeah, they do think that the argument happened, but not like in the way that it was depicted, and they do not believe that the second shot was self-defense. Like, there was no reason for it. Again, very interesting that they're pointing out all the same stuff that we're like, hello, hello, hello. Okay, doesn't think that Charles really hit him with the bat. And they were like, we had the bat, we looked at it, like there's no prints, there's no nothing. Again, that part was so weird. It was like, there's no way. Okay. Lori wasn't worried about Alex. She wasn't asking, how's my brother? How's my husband? I just left this scene. In fact, she's giggling with the cops and whatnot. She's laughing about it. And they noticed this demeanor. They noticed her behavior in court and in the videos. Okay, they felt that Lori was guilty when she saw the police video. Again, I was like, amen. I mean, because again, when you watch that and you see Lori's behavior and all those things, it's like, you did what? And you just came home and you're laughing and you're joking and this and that. It's so off-putting. Now, on that note, and I'll say it now in case I forget, in case I don't put the notes, Justin at one point was like, hey, did anybody say anything about like the police botching the investigation up? And they're like, no, nobody really mentioned that at all, which I thought was interesting. The jurors did watch the video that Lori wanted them to, and they felt like it made her look worse. Now, this part, I mean, y'all, if you follow me with this, especially when we live streamed it, we all said this. We were like, why would Lori want them to play the video when it makes her look so much worse, right? And for them to confirm that, I was like, okay, we're not just like completely biased over here. Because here's the thing, it's so hard for us to like look at it from the perspective of these jurors, because the jurors, allegedly, I made a different video on the one who claims that he knew that she was already serving life sentences, but they don't know the stuff that we know, right? And so to me, I'm like, am I just biased and jaded because I already know this stuff, and I'm just like, why would you want to show any of that full footage video or interviews? It makes you look super bad. So I'm like, no, like this is the confirmation. Like I'm not just jaded. They make her look really bad, right? Okay. So the next one, another major one, wondered where Tylee was, wondered why Lori didn't bring any of these people on the stand. They never, thought that they were dead though. Okay, so that was a huge thing throughout the whole thing. We're like, they have to be wondering where Tylee is, where JJ is, what is up with all these people, why aren't they here? And for her to say, we never considered that they were dead. Can you imagine the shock when they learned that? Can you imagine? But again, we were wondering the same thing. Like, they have to be thinking, the jury, why didn't she bring any of these people on? That speaks volumes, right? It's like that just when you don't have anybody coming up, but you're also bringing all these people, not your own mother, not your own sister, not your own son, like none of these people. Now, granted, some of those people are obviously alive, but then a lot of them are not. And so the whole combination where it's like, wow, you can't even get like your own mother to come up here. Now granted, Lori's probably been like, well, look, I just kind of learned how the subpoena thing worked, a day late and $1 short. Okay. Now let me scroll down over here. I'm gonna move the phone here. Please hold. I'm sorry for the hand in front of it. This is just real laid back over here. Okay, so let's continue. Now, after lunch, they took a show of hands and then they went through the evidence for the people who weren't convinced and they were done. After closing, the court basically told them to go home for the day. Okay, so I remember like that first day, like people were just dying. They only worked, 15 minutes, whatever. So according to the juror number 8, they were like, no, they just told us to go home. They were like, just forget about it. Then also they were like, look, they told us we could have stretched out another day, but we were like, no, let's not waste anybody's time. We are over this. We're done with it. Let's get this going. We know what we're gonna do. Okay, then when Justin was like, what's something that people could have done better? And again, we talked about this. This is so fascinating to me. So juror number 8 was like, look, they could have taken that whole video of Charles Vallow talking to the cops, talking about Lori's trying to kill me a little bit more seriously. Because they're like, when I watched that after the fact, I was like, whoa, that's major. Now, they said that one thing that Lori could have done was to have had witnesses, right? I mean, hello, that's the obvious. Was relieved to be able to talk to people about it because remember, this is the person whose grandmother was like, "You're gonna be on the Lori Daybell thing. You don't even know who Lori Daybell is." Like, they were just gabbing for hours. I just love that. I thought that Lori was very childish in the way that she talked to Nancy Joe, the hypocrisy of trying to shame Nancy. But even at that point, like they probably didn't know all this information. So like just face value, it was like, this is really childish the way that she's trying to like make Nancy feel bad. And then she said Loinfire was messy. Okay. And amen. I love when she asked Justin, she's like, I don't know if you've read it. I'm like, oh, he's read it. He read it all right. We've all read Loin Fire, right? So I thought it was fascinating to hear these jurors. I was so happy that they spoke out. And I mean, there's a few that came out, but like just to hear the story and piece it together to be like, yeah, even a person with fresh eyes to this case sees all the same stuff that we do. All the same stuff, and they connected the dots. And again, I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to walk out of that court, walk out of that whole situation, and be immediately learn this woman's been convicted of numerous crimes, and then you just start going down the rabbit hole. And I think this juror number 8 said that they watched like the documentary or something like that. So again, this case is so crazy. So to land on the jury and then look at it through that lens of like, well, let's backtrack and look at all this stuff. I mean, can you imagine? So I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are on the interview. What did you think? Also, now we are going to already be following the Lori and Brandon Boudreaux situation, coming up or whatever. Let me know other trials that are coming up that you want to follow, that you want to pay attention to, that you want to stream on the podcast channel, because there's a lot going on. Some are getting pushed off, this, that, the other, whatever. But let me know down in the comment section. And while you're down there, drop them little sofas off for Rosco, Bo, Luke, the Sofa Squad, and myself. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging out with me in the truck in the parking lot of the gym for another update from the truck. Let me know. I'm doing the thumbnails different on these, so it's like an obvious what it is. Let me know if you're vibing the thumbnail or not. And that's it. I love you. I will see you the next time from the truck or the sofa.